Hi guys, my name is Dante, and welcome back to Overpaint. Today's patient is Morty W. Hi Morty. Hey Aboro, love your work. Been following your YouTube since for a year now, and love seeing the long progress videos for your more detailed pieces. I see. Well, those are fun occasionally, but I don't know, due to the YouTube format, like half the people watch the second episode of a series usually, so it's not the best thing to do. I drew this guy a while ago and was wondering if you could give me some tips on the lighting. His name is Azarus and he is a sheriff demon. Thanks, Morty. Alright, well you didn't have to say he was a sheriff demon, or a demon sheriff. Speaks for itself. So I chose this artwork today specifically because it feels right down my alley or something. It feels like Morty actually takes a lot of notes, specifically learns my technique or something. Really feels like my kind of approach. Seems like everything was painted in one layer. You can see a bunch of strokes around the objects where background was used to paint the shape of the character. So definitely one layer. There's a very solid work on the lighting. You can definitely tell where the light source is and overall what kind of lighting we're looking at, which is awesome. So I was thinking to just address a couple of mistakes or things that need more attention to just make this picture overall better in that same direction, all in harmony. So I'll just say a bunch of stuff that I'm looking at and that is bothering me, and then we'll go ahead and start working on everything. Number one is like one thing that would instantly improve the picture overall in all the aspects is the brushwork. A lot of the stuff, especially that part that I used to tell that this was a one-layer artwork, this stuff, it's just too raw. What is this spot? It's kind of weird. You should sort of work around those rough edges, rough spots, and kind of fade away these moments and make it work for the picture, making it more atmospheric and interesting, instead of making it look like just a rough mess of random strokes. A little bit extra touch, a little bit more accuracy in these areas will really improve stuff. Another really strong moment with the brushwork is over here. The line where the, let's say bright direct light is cut off, and then we only see the shadow part. It's too rough, it almost feels like another suit on top of the dark suit, because the brushwork is so rough in that part that it almost feels like it's two separate objects. It interferes with many details like dark lines, they're just cut off. Here, and here, like a lot of stuff that isn't supposed to be affected by the fact that there's an edge of light gets affected, and it really ruins the illusion that this is just the lighting transition. It feels like a layer of something different that is just brighter. So you really need to make sure you go more accurate with it without ruining the actual details. And yeah, the thing in here is connected to another issue, is more accurate and more geometrically plausible shape of the lighting. Like, I don't think this ear would be fully lit, and I don't think the lighting would be cut off like that specifically. The character feels like they're a flat cardboard. They should like introduce some roundness. So maybe, you know, something like this if the light is coming from the top. And yeah, one more thing, I think there should be the horn root beginning of the horn visible in here. So yeah, we'll add that. Also, I'll probably fix some stuff about the shape of the face. It feels a bit off. This side of the neck definitely should be dark. There's no reason for it to be that bright. So yeah, let's start with that. Yeah, the smile part. I'm trying to make sure there's an actual smile wrinkle. This stuff. Because without it, it feels really weird. The whole mouth is kind of like sticking out in a weird fashion. Also, the middle tooth, the middle pair of teeth, is so skewed away from the center of the face. Probably because there was a decision to make the smile a bit like this. But that maybe have been done after the smile was drawn in the center of the face. And because of that, the teeth moved with the smile. So yeah, I'm in the process of fixing all of that. Usually this place right under the bottom lip is really dark. A very sharp, dark wrinkle. There's definitely too much light on some areas in here. It feels weird, like the lip is sticking out more to catch more light from the light source. Like this should be darker, really feels like it. Now in here there's an interesting moment. When we remove the main light source, it's ending right here, right? Or somehow, I don't know, it doesn't matter. The point is, in here there's no main light source, but there's another pretty strong light source, which is the reflected light from all of the surface onto these areas. And therefore, this area that is in the shadow of the hat should have a lighting of kind of like red color, very saturated red, and from the bottom. This whole thing is lit from the bottom. That's the only, or like the main light source. There's a little bit of ambient light overall, like this light. Why this is not purely black, because there's ambient light. But under the hat, even that one is very dimmed down. And the only really strong light source is the reflected light from this area. But I think Morty knows that. That's why it overall was pretty much done that way. I'm just making it a bit more defined, like really showing that bottom lighting. So these parts will be lit from the bottom. You see, it's like 100% red right now. It's not necessary, but why not? You know me, I lately love bright, saturated colors. Can't quite put my finger on how this thing goes with the jacket. Like in here we have this, but in here it should probably go like this, but the star, how is it supposed to be just on top of it, the way it is? For some reason there's no continuation of this other wing. So yeah, another thing that I'm trying to fix, like initially you can see how there's inconsistency in just plain values. Like, why is this spot so much brighter than all of this? And brighter than the hat even? What's up with this particular spot? If you think about the angles of the surface facing to the light source and dependence of the brightness of the values on that, this part should be the brightest, and maybe a little thin bright line on the hat will be in this part. Something like that. And these guys will be darker, maybe a little bit. There will be bright spot in here because it's facing the light source. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So yeah, this is the way I solved the issue of weird brushwork on the edge of the lighting. At first, I used like the flat base of the character's chest, character's jacket, and shaded it more or less evenly to show the smooth gradient from top to bottom, to show this soft shadow overall on the character, something like this. And then on top of it, I start introducing some of the big wrinkles that are still completely breaking and not really get influenced by this main lighting, because they are creating the big shadow. The main light isn't reaching there into those folds. So yeah, that's the detail that goes on top of the smooth gradient. And it totally looks appropriate, in harmony with being added like that. So yeah, you start with a smooth gradient, that way it's easier to build details on top of it. I think I never actually covered this part in any tutorial. How to introduce this bigger lighting on top of smaller details, because you can really go crazy about trying to figure out how to put brushstrokes on top of each other to make things look decent. A lot of the times the order in which you put details on matters quite a lot, even if you work in one layer, or even especially if you work in one layer. Did I just add a whole bunch of details on the bottom layer? How interesting. Do I have some kind of mental issue? Can I combine it together now? I was showing my progress to Nadia and then I left only the bottom layer visible apparently. It's all liquefied into different pose. We'll see. I'll try to merge my progress from 2 layers now. So I changed the shading of this chin a little bit by, first of all, removing the light everywhere where there's no main light, creating a good gradient. And then on top of it, I added this reflection light, because pretty much when the chin is curving away from the main light source, in here it's the same situation we had under the hat. So the lighting comes from the bottom, reflected from the neck at this point. A little bit from the color as well, not from the blue thing, because blue and red are the opposite colors, they don't light up each other at all. Reflected light from the blue scarf is not gonna be visible at all on the red skin. Same as in here, the red reflected light makes the blue hair in here super dark, pretty much it should appear black. That's why in the original, it kinda looked weird and glowing for no apparent reason, because everything is obviously like very red ambience over there under the hat, and why is the hair so blue and bright? Is it actually glowing, like it's visible in the dark? I think it's probably not that, so I think I fixed the shading on the hair in that sense. Overall, of course, I'm changing the character quite a lot, by the way. The sheriff looks a lot older, I think, and a bit more manly. I considered, on the right side, we can see a good, this cheekbone thing, very skinny kind of a cheek. And on the right side, there's some mass, like a cute cheek going on. So I decided to go somewhat balanced and making the outer side also a bit more flat, so the face would be more symmetrical. And yeah, I reshaded and changed the shape of the hair quite a lot. I was just looking for areas where I could work, take advantage of silhouettes. and hair on the dark side was a great place to do that, so in here I did quite a lot of that, and continued it in here as well. Overall, I made the hair a bit darker. I just think it works better. The skin is already really bright and saturated. It kind of seems better to not have hair being of the same brightness and kind of like interfere with the value too much. Things that come together should like have a difference in value. That would work better. So hair should pretty much always be darker than the skin, unless it's like specifically the other way around. So yeah, I went with darker blue hair. I think it looks cool. This way it's a bit better. I'll probably increase the contrast on the shading of this thing as well, so it would fit just right, and make this reflection highlight much stronger, making the whole material, like cloth of this scarf, appearing a lot more reflective and rich, I guess, just by doing this. It's like a sheet of metal almost in here. I don't know, we can balance it out here and there. Consistency of the shadow. Since the neck is dark over here, the color should be in shadow as well. Like here's the shadow line I introduced. There was a hint on the rim light, like that's why this hair looks a bit weird, like it's drawn. Apparently that was the idea, that there's a rim light from the back, but really pretty much nothing is supporting it, except for maybe the neck in this area that I fixed, and the ear. Both of them wouldn't really catch the rim light because the hair and the color are covering the ear and the neck, so they would be dark anyway. And I don't know, the hat overall and the color of the jacket, they don't seem to be reacting to that rim light. And really, I don't think we need it, because the background is bright. It's much better to show the silhouette of the character in this case by keeping it dark. So the background would be noticeably brighter than this side of the character. And that's why we have this good readable silhouette of the hair and the hat and pretty much everything. I'm pretty sure the sheriff's star is upside down. Is that a good joke because he is satanic and all? Upside down sheriff's star? No? Okay. This guy doesn't seem to have any on his outfit. Where are all them stars? Oh, there you go, the movie kind of sheriff, but you can barely see anything. I don't care, I'll just improvise. So yeah, the curvature of these rings should be the other way around. The horn is curving to the top now. It's like somewhere in here there will be the middle line, like the horizon of them. And then they should start curving upwards. That'll make much more sense, won't it? Let's add some highlights too by desaturating and adding more brightness. Sometimes you would look at the result and you would feel like there's some kind of lump in here. Why is it looking like that? Well, apparently this thing should be overall darker. Even though it's catching some light, it's way too bright. For that angle, it should be a lot darker. It won't be able to catch that much light at that angle. I don't know what this is, and maybe no one knew. Let's say there's a ring around the top button on this vest. Whatever. Alright, I think I'm done here. Looks pretty dope. Feel like I almost haven't changed anything, just brought certain elements of the image to the product level, kind of. Obviously it would need more polish, like when you zoom in and you see the rough brush strokes, but overall this is a good point where you can see where it's going for, definitely. So what kind of progress do we have? Well, yeah, much more stable brushwork that really makes the picture much more, I don't know, like it's here. No weird unintended mess. It's just static and clean, especially you can see the difference on the background and on the jacket as well. I used much softer brushwork, overlaying a whole bunch of brush strokes with different values, searching for the good, subtle, just right kind of value. Much darker hair, more expression in it, like every curl, every streak of hair makes sense. It looks like a thing with a character. One in Hero was just like a quick thingy. I mean, it also has its own thing, but still, if it would be a bit more accurate, with a bit more obviously intentional brushwork on them, it would feel much nicer. So yeah, changed the geometry on the jacket a little bit, added a stronger curvature here, and on the other side, this curvature is going away quicker. And that's because our sheriff is rotated, like his face, his body is pointing like this, which means the curvature of the neck is like this, so the center of the curvature of this color on the jacket is over there and is degrading quicker on this side and showing up a bit more on the other side. Also, I changed this infinite shoulder into something more reasonable, like you can see where the body ends, so it feels a bit more real, I guess. Forgot about this ear. It should definitely be darker, especially on the very top edge. Pretty much everywhere, there's not a lot of reflected light for it as well. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, this is it. I really like the way the gradient of the background turned out to be. The colors were already there, I just made it cleaner, and it feels like so nice. The subtle glowing behind the character feels really good. Like this specific gradient with its specific hue and brightness looks really cool. I don't know why this star is bothering me. It looks too flat, too bright. Something like this, maybe. Also, like, is this gold different from this one? Should it really be of different hues? I don't know. Decisions. So yeah, this is it. Thank you, Morty W, for your submission. A great, fun character with some anime vibe to it. A really great showcase of the technique that I don't know if I have anything to do with the fact that you work with this technique or not, but I can definitely relate to it. So yeah, it was great to continue working on this character to improve it a bit. Hope it helped. Hope I didn't ruin the character too much, because the sheriff's face kind of changed a bit. He became a bit older, I think, especially I went crazy on the forehead. I made it evil. I wanted to play with this reflected light to show some masses, so that's why it looks like this. I think it was a good call. If any of you guys want me to overpaint your picture like this, the link to my Patreon page is in the end of this video. You become my patron, submit the picture with the message, I read the message and overpaint the picture. But for now, this is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Interesting, with this new lighting, the guy became a bit more real. Like, I look at him and he's like a person. I can see the character themselves more specifically. They're more here. And even though I'm the one who made the changes, I didn't know that, like, I didn't see the guy like this before I finished painting it. It's like kind of unconscious. Does that make sense at all? I'll try next time.